You almost ready there, Christy?
I've been ready.
Okay. I've been ready too.
Really?
This is our last flavor of the day.
You were first.
We work together.
Yeah, you can use this one.
Okay. So this is a simple formula that Christy's put together. 3.5 quarts of water, strawberries, mixed berries, boysenberry extract, and sugar. And that's all that's in there. Frutti Bosco is Italian. It's usually a gelato. It's Italian for mixed berries. So that's all it is. We picked, Christy went to the supermarket, saw what was available that was, available to, fresh or fresh frozen, and said, let's throw these in and see what happens. And that's what a lot of ice cream is throw it all in and see how it goes.
There you go.
Thank you. So that's my water. And I'm going to add the sugar to this. Again, like Christy said, you can add the sugar into the machine, but to increase the incredible longevity of the blades, most people's blades, their machines the blades last 6 months, and you have to replace them. Ours go 5, 6, 7 years, depending on the volume of the store. And we can get extended life by putting the sugar right in here. This is literally sandpaper. It's just like sandpaper. It's very coarse and can wear parts out, and we want to keep everything running forever. But once I dissolve it, it's just water. And sugar dissolves very easily in water. I mean, you run into some chefs and they say, oh, you've got to heat the water up on the stove to get. That's a lot of bull. You're going to see when I pour this in. I mean, I've been stirring it maybe on and off for 15 seconds. It's already all dissolved. And it was 2 pounds of sugar. So when I pour this in, if there's a little teeny tiny stream of sugar that didn't get dissolved going into the machine, what difference does it make? Sound like Hillary Clinton. What difference does it make? It's only a little stream compared to 2 pounds. So it isn't going to hurt anything. Now I'm going to pour this into the machine. Oh, let me throw that. I might as well throw the extract in too, so that it doesn't get stuck on the door. And well, that smelled good.
What kind of extract is it?
I was going to pass it around, but go ahead.
Boysenberry from Weber Flavors.
You want to pass it down? Weber Flavors and Green Mountain Flavors. They both are very good choices for flavoring. Like Steve mentioned, Green Mountain Flavors is all natural. So like you said, instead of green, red dye 40, they use beets to extract to make that red color. Just about everything else that they have, it's all natural. Weber Flavors, they have been around actually longer than we have. Since 1902, we are 1905. So they've been doing this for a very long time, and they are well known for even making custom flavors that you are specifically looking for. And they have the off-the-wall, like Blue Moon flavors and Silver Unicorn, whatever that tastes like, type of flavors.
Christy was talking about this morning, you saw that instead of resting it on here, which will cause it to slosh over on the sides, I raised it up like that. And if you watch me pour that in, I didn't miss a drop. And I'm blind in one eye, so if I can do this, imagine what you can do. But it just like that, it goes in very easily. And that's my sugar and water and my extract. And now what's left but the berries. So to get them to go down easily, I'm going to go to this, make ice cream. I'm going to look for Italian ice. I've got homemade dairy-free custard super premium gelato frozen yogurt. So I'm going to page 2, which is sorbet, sorbetto, cream ice, manual speed, sherbet, frozen lemonade, and there it is, Italian ice. We hit Italian ice and start, and just pour in the berries.
It's kind of hard to see, but everybody's had frozen vegetables, frozen fruit that they've thawed and it's got that nice juice in here. That is the best. I always prefer buying frozen fruits and letting them thaw because it makes that beautiful sweet juice of its own. There you go. And you don't need syrups or extracts or anything like that. If you wanted, you could also open up the frozen bag of berries, sprinkle some more sugar in it, close it up and let it thaw like that, and it'll be a thicker type of syrup that's going into there. It's a natural sweet syrup juice, and it's amazing.
Okay, and I'm done, and it's already been freezing for 40 seconds. If you've got as I was saying before, if you have a repertoire of flavors that you're going to make year in and year out over and over and over again, you don't have to taste it. I'm not sure what Jeff's seeing, but when I'm seeing Jeff do that, putting in flavors and ingredients, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and let's put a little bit more of that in. How is his flavors consistent from day to day to year if he's doing that? I think what he's really doing is do a little bit of showmanship, and he's got the formula down, or at least in his head, of he knows exactly what's going to go in. I hope so, because otherwise, if it's always a little of this and a little of that, you'll never have the same ice cream twice. And that is really bad for business. It's back to my McDonald's theory. Good or bad, it's got to be consistent. Yes?
So the smaller machine doesn't have the panel on it to select the different things, but I know that it makes different things, so it just depends on the ingredients
The
that
smallest
you put in.
one makes super premium ice cream like a Haagen-Dazs. It'll make gelato, and it'll do Italian ice.
Right.
It will not make homemade, and it won't make frozen custard.
Right.
It'll do dairy-free also. So it's basically it's not running as fast as this is on full speed. But it's running at the speed that we picked to hit that market. And so this is going to really give you a good product. The real thing you should be looking at is this is only 3 quarts. It's going to take you, to make a full tub, 10, 20, 30, 40, 40 to 45 minutes to make one tub, whereas this is going to make a tub, 2 8-minute batches, 16 minutes. Labor is your biggest problem, because if you're just running the store yourself, if it's just 2 of you running the store, you're going to be up all day, all night with too small a machine. And I can guarantee you, you're going to outrun that in 6 months. And then you have a choice. If you're doing a second store, you could put it up there. But you really need to start with this one, because this is going to give you twice the production and even a little bit faster. You don't have to go here, which is going to be 4 times the production, but that'll come later.
You'll notice that you have seen Jeff and I rinse the machines in between doing that. That's not a necessity for every single flavor you make. If you were an ice cream maker in your store and you were to start with your lightest flavors first and work your way down to the dark flavors, there's no need to rinse. An example, if you're starting with vanilla, you can go vanilla straight to chocolate. If you're doing chocolate, you can do chocolate straight to coffee. Coffee will overpower that chocolate flavor. If you're doing strawberry, you would do vanilla, strawberry, then chocolate, and there's no need to rinse. Anything with nuts, of course, save it for the last batch of the day, because you want to be sure to strip down your machine to every little nitty-gritty that you can. Like you said, in the Sue Happy world, you always want to be on the safe side anyways, just because it's a good thing to do. And then when you work with water-based products, it really doesn't matter what order you do it in. If I went from cream ice, the one orange that we just did, to this, I wouldn't have rinsed it if I was going back to back. But because it's sat a little bit, the machine starts to get warm, then everything starts to settle and it turns into a liquid. Yeah. So I'm going to rinse that, of course, since it's sat for a little bit.
I continue saying, here's a little trick for you. Go out and buy a spaghetti colander. One of the best things you can have for making ice cream. Because when you do rinse out the machine, any cherries or blueberries or anything else that did get left in the machine, instead of them going down your drain and clogging it, you're going to put the rinse water through the spaghetti colander and catch them. So we've been making ice cream all morning, and I have 2 half pieces of cherry, and it looks like 1 blueberry. That's not bad for all the ice cream we made. But you do that day after day after day, and it's going to clog up your drain, and now you got to call a $100 plumber. So buy the $8 spaghetti colander.
Yeah.
So you said you would, like if you were just making ice cream back to back, you could go from strawberry to chocolate. So you would not think that any strawberries would get in the chocolate?
Not really. And that, I kind of want to talk about that. That's a good point. Well, I'll just use
Go ahead.
this. So, as Jeff had mentioned earlier today, some people pull it thinner, some people pull it thicker. Jeff pulls it on the thinner side. When you pull it on the thinner side, you have a better chance of getting all of your inclusions out that might be left in the machine because it's not thick and getting stuck in there on the blades or in the back. So pulling it on the thinner side will help eliminate those straw berries that might come into the chocolate, which is a good surprise in a chocolate ice cream anyway, right? But pulling it on the thinner side too will also make even out your container. So if you pull it pretty thick, you're gonna smack it down, get the air pockets out, maybe push it down a little bit more like you were seeing me do with the spatula. If you pull it on the thinner side like Jeff, his pretty much was just filling it up nice and evenly, no air pockets, no none of that. So no, I'm not going to worry about it if you pull it on the thinner side like Jeff did, instead of waiting so thick.
I'm going to take a quick minute and just talk about the progression of your business, because that's what I'm always looking in. I know your business is going to grow. You don't think so right now. You're just thinking, how am I going to get the door open with 2 flavors? We know you're going to grow. We know our success rate because we give you all our information for free, hundreds of videos. You're going to start probably with a CB350. Let me just take a quick minute. Okay, it just started to thicken up. I could hear it. And I'm making ices so much faster because I've kept everything going and just turned it on. Anyway, your progression. I'm going to talk to you. You have no money and you want to get into business. We're going to sell you a CB350. I'm going to suggest off camera, there are 2 white chest freezers, a little bigger than this table. And they sell them at Home Depot, Lowe's, Sears, and they go to 10 below, and they will work for now for hardening ice cream. So you're going to make the ice cream here or the ices. You're going to take it here and you're going to put it in that chest freezer. You have 2 of them because you can't fill it up all the way. You can fill it 1/3 of the way today, 1/3 tomorrow, 1/3 the next day. So we want to make enough ices or ice cream to fill 1/3 of the way in the first chest freezer and 1/3 of the way the second chest freezer. That's good. Next day, you do the same thing. Third day, the same thing. That's your inventory. That's what you're going to draw off of when that line goes from 6 people a day to 75 people a day. You're going to need more ices and more ice cream. You've got it as inventory in those chest freezers. Then you get to a point where you call me up and say, oh my gosh, we're working the Emery Thompson 18, 20 hours a day. We need a bigger machine. And I'll say, I know where you are in your business, and you don't need a bigger machine yet. I'd love to sell you one. I'd like to sell machinery. That's why I'm here, why I build them. But you're not ready yet. You're only running this thing, let's say, 12 hours a day. Well, how about you hire someone to come in for the graveyard shift, 11 o'clock at night to 6 in the morning, to follow your formulas, the one that you wrote down on the file card, on that file card, and just say, follow this formula. And I use police and fire because they all have a second job. We don't pay them enough, and they all have, firemen have the 11 o'clock to 6 a.m. Shift off at least once a month, or 1 week a month. So that's your extra source of labor. Or you might have relatives who would rather be up at night than to be, working during the day. Hire them. So instead of running it for 9 hours, you could run it for 18 hours. At some point in time, that just is too many hours for you. The machine can go around the clock, and you call up and say, I need another batch freezer, a bigger one. And my answer to you is, I'm sorry, but you don't need one yet. I mean, I'm sorry because I can't sell you a machine. What you need is more inventory. If my business triples, which it seems to do every couple of years, I don't need more employees. I need more factories. I've got 3. I need more factories if I'm going to expand. So if you can swing the camera over, can you pick up, Mike, the hardening cabinet? Okay, so those chest freezers will harden ice cream overnight, and you can only fill them 1/3 of the way. This hardening cabinet is 25 below zero, and it will stay at 25 below zero no matter what you throw at it. You could throw, 30 gallons of hot soup in here, and it's not going to get any warmer than 15 below zero. So it's called a shock hardener or a blast freezer, and it's a specialty piece of equipment. So now with the ownership of this, you can multiply times 4 the amount of inventory you have in your store. So you don't have just those 2 chest freezers that you can only fill a third of the way. You can fill this all the way up today with tubs of ice cream or pints, and 8 hours later you can then take it and move it over to your chest freezers or anywhere else you need to put it. So your normal expansion will not be a second batch freezer. It'll be an Emery Thompson hardening cabinet and made in conjunction with my frenemy, Cappigiani. It's made in the USA, and we both sell it.
We're ready.
Okay. So then after that, then you'll buy a bigger batch freezer. This is ready. I'm going to turn off the refrigeration. I'm going to wait until it clicks off because it's still freezing against the walls, and I don't want the blades to be scraping as I'm pulling it out. So here we go. Look how fast that comes out. Isn't that beautiful color? You didn't see me put any color in this. Thank you.
So real quick before I put those in cups, so if it were me, this formula is also in my recipe book, and it is red sweet wine. Red sweet wine, the berries and sugar makes a very, very wine sorbet, and it is the most amazing thing you'll ever have. You don't have to be fancy with your wine. You don't have to buy the $20 bottle. Buy you the cheap $5 bottle because you're just wanting it for that wine. Putting it in this fancy little glass and going to Rodeo Drive or Burns Steakhouse, they're going to call it a sorbet and charge you $12. You go to Podunk, Oklahoma, where I'm from, they're going to call it Italian ice with wine in it or a slushy, and they're going to charge you $5. So calling it a sorbet in a fancy glass, you can always get more for your buck.
So we rate the machine at 6 quarts finished. We actually got 7 quarts out. We know that.
Where's my spoons?
But we like to rate them on the conservative side, and then you're really surprised at when you see what you got.
Less likely to damage it. You'll be less likely to damage it by overfilling it.
It won't freeze.
It just won't freeze properly.
If it's a 6-quart machine and you try to put 6 quarts of product into it, it's not going to freeze at all. And that's a big thing that customers call and ask, like, well, my machine's not freezing. And I'll ask, well, how much are you putting in it? 6 quarts. Well, it needs room to expand to freeze. It's a 6-quart finished capacity.
And that's my complaint with my competitors, is they will tell you that they're selling you a 19-quart machine. Let me show you what they're doing. We say that here, 24 quarts comes out of the machine, okay? They're saying that 19 quarts comes out of their machine. It's a 19-quart machine, sorry. What they're doing is they're turning the cylinder on end, filling it up with water all the way to the top, and they say, oh, it holds 19 quarts. Therefore, it's a 19-quart machine. You'll never get 19 quarts out of it. You'll be lucky to get 15 quarts out of it. We take a more honest approach. We say we put in a certain amount of product in here, and we're going to get not 19 quarts, we're going to get 24 quarts out of it. So we're giving you an honest figure of what comes out, not just some arbitrary number if you fill it up. If I filled this up with water, this so-called cylinder, it would be about a 26-quart machine, 26, 27 quarts. But it's not. It's a 24-quart machine. So, a little simple thing. So this is our last. Does anybody want more ices and ice cream after this? Raise your hand.
Me.
Oh, sorry. Well, we're tired. We're
I'm
tired.
an ice cream freak. That's why I have an ice cream shop. I love ice cream. So my other question is,
Yes.
once you make the ice cream, what's the normal time for hardening?
The normal time for hardening, again, with the chest freezer for $900 from Home Depot was designed not to harden ice cream or ices. It was designed to go to 10 below, and you bring home frozen green beans and frozen DiGiorno pizzas. The the freezer doesn't have to do any work. If I take your 5 gallons of your homemade soup recipe and take it right off the stove and put it in there, that 10 below is going right up to 50 degrees instantly because you put such warm product in there. So if we take warm ices or ice cream and put it in there, if we put too much in, the temperature is going to go way up and everything melts and then refreezes and all products are ruined. People call up and say, hey, my ice is really dense with flavor down at the bottom and not much up top. I say, what are you using to freeze your ice? And they say, oh, we're using a chest freezer and we're just filling it all the way up. Well, it went up above 19 degrees and it all melted and came back down again. So in that chest freezer overnight, 10, 12 hours. In a hardening cabinet, about 4 to 6. And it'll never melt on you. But since that's so rock hard, we can always move it. We can either leave it there forever, or we can move it over to the chest freezer, and it's like the frozen DiGiorno pizzas again. They're frozen. It's not doing any work. It's just sitting there. So to get you into business for a low price, we use the chest freezers. To get you into production, real production, then you go into a hardening cabinet. And then we get even bigger and you're servicing 7 stores. You don't go with this anymore. You go with a walk-in freezer at 15 below zero where you put on your coat and walk in with the 2 tubs. Kendall has a little surprise for you.
I have certificates.
Yay!
And how she And you know, Frutti de Bosco is like a cheesecake, isn't it? Kind of.
Right here, thank you.
No, it's just a bunch of berries. And it's delicious, Christy. Good formula.
Because you could add a splash of dairy with this, like I did, instead of using water. You know, you could do the very berry, or you could do water and then just a splash of cream, and call it a very berry cream ice or whichever.